What's up, everybody, and welcome back to All the Things Sort of Truth, the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a swollen stream of craft brew on the side. I'm Nate.
I'm Jade.
And this week we're going to be getting into Chapter 22 of Wizard's First Rule.
We do have a little bit of news first. Heart of Black Ice, the last book in the Nikki Chronicles, is releasing. It'll be tomorrow. It's tomorrow for us, but it'll be yesterday for you guys.
Right. Nailed it.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people have already gotten their hands on it and have started reading it because some bookstores put their stuff out a little bit early for some reason.
Yeah, I've been seeing that lately online, people posting pictures of, look what I found at my local Barnes & Noble, or look what I got in the mail a few days early. They're out there.
Yeah.
They're never out there by us, apparently, because I've never spotted one of these things releasing early. But some people out there are getting lucky, and I applaud them, and I'm happy for them. They have it done before anybody else gets to read it, and that's got to feel cool.
Well, we haven't gone out to our local Barnes & Noble, so we can go check that out tomorrow if you want to.
Yeah, we're going to have to. I mean, I'm going to have it on Audible by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, so...
Oh, yeah, true.
I will have a copy.
But let us know what you guys think of that if you've gotten your hands on it. That's all I have, so we can move right along.
All right. What did you think about this chapter?
I liked it, especially the beginning a lot. I smiled a lot during the beginning. And then the last part, I mean, maybe not so much, but I liked the Zedd and Addie part.
Yeah, well, the cute old couple. And I like that it goes between Zedd and Richard, so you get both perspectives in the chapter. Sometimes one whole chapter, you're like, this can't possibly be going on as long as it is when we know that Richard is somewhere else in the middle of a battle or something.
Oh, yeah. You want to check in.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of, like you said, check in with all the different characters, keep tabs on where everybody is and what everybody's doing.
And also, if you're away from Richard or Kahlan for too long, you find yourself pining for them a little bit.
But what is he doing?
Yeah, because that's all we really care about. In this chapter, Zedd wakes up, spice soup and chills with Addie, and Richard and Kahlan meet the locals.
Yeah. I like the locals. I think I would get along great with these people.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really, really do.
Well, let's get into it and find out why. So Zedd wakes up, he smells the spice soup, he's covered in bones. He sees Chase in the house with bones hanging all over the walls. He, gets up all stealthy, and then he finds himself face to face with an old woman, and they both scream with their hands in the air. I liked the part where they're their skinny little hands in the air.
Yeah, you can see that in a comedy.
Yeah.
Did he make the bones levitate off of himself?
Yeah.
And he sat them down quietly. Was that so he could be stealthy?
I thought so. That's what I got from it.
And all that was happening right behind Addie, and she had no idea.
I think he probably felt like she had no idea, but, I mean, she's the bone lady, and bones are moving in her house of bones.
So she was probably aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I
not,
can see
because,
that.
I mean, he sneaks up on her, and they both yell.
Yeah, they both scream, so maybe they were both unaware.
Huh.
Which is weird. You'd think maybe they could sense that.
Right. I mean, yeah, like I just explained, I would think she would have been I know you're awake.
Right. It's funny, only because they mention, she's blind, but she makes jokes about how she can see better than most people.
Yeah.
So.
Zedd asks who she is and demands to know how many meals he's missed, because that's the most fucking important thing at this point.
Yeah, it talks about how he cringes at the thought that gruel had to sustain him.
Yeah.
I fucking cracked up because Zedd's like, no, you fed me what? I don't care if I was unconscious and couldn't taste it. You give me the good stuff because it's the good stuff, damn it.
You could have made me broth at least.
I could hear a bags. You fed me what?
Well, the two of them have a flirty little back and forth. Zedd comments about Addie's foot, and she says nothing's wrong with it, what be wrong with your eyes? And Zedd's like, oh, the only thing that's been wrong with my eyes is they've been famished, and now they are feasting. And it was so funny.
Oh, he's laying it on thick.
Yeah.
But he was being charming as hell when he's like, what happened to your foot? And Addie goes, nothing. It's perfectly fine. Or what happened to your leg?
Yeah.
And she says, nothing. I'm perfectly fine. I was going to say it's Addie, and she's very particular about exact words. So I thought she was going to say, there's nothing wrong with my leg, but my foot's missing.
Yeah.
But my leg is fine. And, Zedd is like, no, the other one. She's like, what? It just doesn't touch the ground?
Yeah. And then she throws it right back at him with that, what's wrong with your eyes? And I thought it was so funny.
Right.
She tells him to sit down and eat some soup. And as soon as he eats it, he knows that Richard made it.
I mean, I don't want to diss spice soup. I want to try it. I want to see if there's an actual recipe somewhere that we could try.
There is.
Awesome. But I don't know if, I don't know, maybe it's like your mom cooked food a certain way, and so you prefer just that one way it's done because, well, that's the way mom made it. Maybe Zedd is having one of these moments with Richard because Richard makes spice soup and Zedd can tell. I just guess it showed a little bit of history between these two guys. He knows that's his food.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could imagine if you had like a random chili versus if somebody fed you a chili. You've had my chili now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
for 11 years. So if you tasted a chili and it tasted similar to something I made, you might be like, wait.
I could pick your chili out of a lineup.
See?
I guarantee you I could.
See, that's all I'm saying. Like, maybe not a bunch of stuff, but like my chili, maybe my potato soup.
Oh, potato soup? Well, I guess that's one of the points I was going to bring up is that there's not much difference when you use the same ingredients, but it's just, I don't know, the certain way it's done. I can't really explain it, put it into words any better than that. Maybe it's a texture thing.
See, that's why I didn't use potato soup, because you don't eat potato soup anywhere else but here.
Right. Be like, that's potato soup anywhere? Oh, my wife probably made that.
Yeah.
And it's good.
But at that point, Addie fills him in on everything that happened. Yeah, Richard was there. He wanted to pass along some messages. He wanted Chase to know how to keep things safe. He wanted Zedd to know, like, hey man, sorry we had to leave you behind. Didn't know your plan, but hopefully you can catch up with us when you feel better.
And, Addie assumes that now that Zedd's awake, he's going to go after Richard. Or more rather, she asks the question if he's going to, but assuming that's the plan. And he goes, no.
Right. That's not in his plan right now. He has other shit that's more important.
I thought this was interesting because earlier we hear Richard say that it wasn't really in his plan to have Chase come with them into the Midlands. And obviously we know he needs Zedd with them. But these are people keeping secrets because that comes up in this chapter too. Zedd never mentioned anything to Richard about not being with him and that being part of the plan. So did Zedd know about the attack that made him, be unconscious for all this time?
I don't know. It seems like he obviously had separate plans from what he was going to send Richard to do, at least once they got to the Midlands.
Right.
Because he definitely has to leave. He can't stay at Addie's any longer. But Addie does tell him that Richard keeps a secret from him, and Zedd said something that I really liked. He says, I fear no secret of a person that I trust, and he has no reason to fear mine. It's part of being friends. And, I don't know, I like that. Because you don't have to tell everybody everything. If you trust somebody, you should be able to be like, okay, you're probably not being a shitbag.
Yeah, that comes up a couple of times in this book where everybody's like, well, I have my secrets and that's okay. And everybody's really defensive about it. I mean, yeah, everybody has their secrets. But everybody also points it out a lot.
Yeah.
And this was one point in the book where it was pointed out that it didn't really rub me the wrong way. But I also don't see why that would have come up right now. I mean, it wasn't in his plan, but it was awkwardly put, I think.
Well, it's just weird that Eddie thought it was important enough to tell Zedd, and Zedd didn't think it was important enough to think about.
Right.
But Addie says she hopes he's right. You don't want to give a wizard a reason to be mad, and Zedd jokes that he's a pretty harmless wizard. And Addie's like, that'd be a lie, man.
Yeah, no, bullshit. I mean, maybe this thought is coming from when he was just waking up and, like, making the bones float, but you'd think she would be able to sense something like that. Obviously, they couldn't. They both surprised the shit out of each other, but she can tell that he's a wizard and a powerful one.
Yeah.
According to this conversation, she knows. She knew when they first showed up, because Richard's like, that's my friend, and she's like, that's a fucking wizard.
Yeah.
And then Richard, screamed at her.
Yeah.
But so she knows what he is, and he knows what she is, and they're just now meeting for the first time.
And Richard and Kahlan have been gone for 7 days at this point. Zedd asks how he's supposed to find them once he's ready to go. And Addie just kind of casually tells him, well, I gave him the Nightstone. And that's when Zedd flips out.
Yeah, he is not a fucking fan of that. Now, this is something I wasn't exactly thrilled about. They didn't explain what it does. She explains her reasoning for giving them the Nightstone, like, hey, they needed help. You don't want to be blind in the pass at night. You'll die.
Flashlight.
Exactly. This was a necessity. But Zedd is also like, yeah, okay, but what about the other thing? And they never say what the other thing is.
No.
They're like, hey, he wouldn't have used it if he knew what it did. And it's brilliantly written, I guess, by Goodkind, because listening to it, you're like, what does it do? You have to say, though, it'll come up.
Yeah.
And you get, spoiler, all the way to the end of the chapter, and they don't say it. And you're like, what? It makes you have to keep reading. That's how you start a book at, 8 p.m. and you end at 4 in the morning, when you realize you're just not going to sleep tonight and it's time to go to work.
Yeah, you're fully in.
Right.
And that's when Addie tells him that she did warn him with a riddle. So she didn't further freak him out, because he was already pretty freaked out. She didn't want to outright tell him what it did. And Zedd's like, bags, woman. Richard hates riddles. He considers them an insult, and he ignores them on fucking principle.
It makes him sound so douchey. I mean, it really does. Like, you can't give him a riddle? You gave him a riddle? Dude, he doesn't believe it. You won't do them on principle. I don't do riddles. That's a trick, and I will not have part of a trick.
There's a couple times in this chapter that he's just like, that's dumb, I don't want to do it. And everyone's like, Richard, calm down.
Richard strikes me as the kind of guy who wouldn't enjoy, like, a stage magician. Somebody just, it's a trick, it's a joke, and everybody knows it, but it's kind of a cool thing to look at. Richard would be like, this is pointless.
Yeah.
We get it, guy. Okay. Fuck.
Well, Addie's upset that she didn't listen when Richard, flat out told her that he doesn't like riddles, and asks that Zedd reach out through the thing that they're all paranoid about to see if they're okay.
Yeah, she wants Zedd to activate the GPS in the Nightstone.
Yeah.
They're like, it's okay that we're separated. I got this tracker on the Seeker, so I can tell where he is. I would love it if Zedd was, like, pressing his thumb into his palm, and Richard all of a sudden was talking to Kahlan and went like, chirp, chirp, or something. Like,
yeah.
What was that? I don't know. Come on, we got to chirp, chirp. Get out of here. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's really funny, especially because they're, like, so worried about it. They're like, oh my god, he has a Nightstone. Holy shit. Oh, but you do have tracking on that.
Yeah.
So cool.
He got the insurance.
Yeah. At this point, this is when Zedd, he says he has to go. And Addie's like, hey man, it's dark outside. It's lonely here. You want to just stay the night?
This is Terry Goodkind's version of Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Wah, wah, wah.
But with, like, a little bit of a role reversal. So it's like, I gotta go. And she's like, but hey, it's dark.